hope it only gets better with time. I have to say this because she's watching this.
It was like, I think it is my biggest heartbreak that I had faced, and I don't think any boy is going to be able to break my heart like the way I felt like. I don't think any boy, anyone, that's my biggest love, and that was my biggest heartbreak at that time.
I was one of those little boys who would be standing on the other side of the fence looking at, all the films being shot there.
Aware that our generation is very detached, so to say, and they move on quickly, and there are these new terms, situationship and benching and breadcrumbing. I'm hearing these new terms.
Yeah, I've learned these terms today.
Yeah.
The first take, were you nervous?
Yes, sir. I was very nervous, and Sandy sir made us start with a very, very tough.
Through this film, we actually want to talk about the other things also that he's done, how he's contributed.
Right.
It's an honor to play him.
It's 9:30 p.m. and when you look at them, you don't feel like it. Is it the excitement about the film that is keeping you guys all energetic through the day?
Yeah,
Yes.
and you. Yeah, and
Thank you. But do you feel like promotions is the worst part when it comes to a film? Like, does it get really tiring?
No. It's not the worst part. There are far more worse things that we have to deal with. Yeah. In fact, this is one of the good things that we have to do, which is reach out to people through you guys.
Yeah.
Meet wonderful friends like you, Sana. I've known you for such a long time.
Absolutely.
And to reach out to people through you. So it's always wonderful.
But Shanaya, what do you remember of your first scene, the first take that you gave, the first time you faced the camera? What is that core memory that kind of remains?
I think the core memory, which stayed with me was the bond that Vikrant and I created. I mean, we had met earlier, of course, we were prepping together, but finally on the first day of shoot when he was wearing his lenses, which I'm sure he'll tell you about in detail, and I was in my blindfold. There was a sense of connection, there was a sense of trust that was formed. There was this feeling that we have switched off the world around us. And as actors, sometimes when you have your visual cues, it's also very important that you don't get distracted by the camera or the guy sitting right below you when you're doing a very emotional scene holding the thermocol, because he has to make sure that light hits your face correctly. So you have to learn to switch it off and be in the moment with your character. But for us, we anyway didn't have our visual cues, and we were the only people who were understanding how that feels in that moment. So I think that trust and that friendship I remember on the first day was a very different feeling. Of course, it was there when we were prepping, but on the first day of shoot, something for me definitely changed.
But the first take, were you nervous?
Yes, I was. I was very nervous, and Sandy sir made us start with a very, very tough scene on the first day only. We started, which you all have seen in the teaser, I think, the train sequence where we're sitting across from each other, which is roughly, I think script-wise, it was around 18 pages for, I think, 3 days of shoot, I remember, 17 pages, if I'm not mistaken, for 3 days of shoots. That means a lot happening per day.
Absolutely.
And when your two characters are just sitting across from each other, conversations, energy transfer, the chemistry, playing on your voice, because with the blindfold on, there's no other way you can communicate. The only way you can communicate is your body language and your voice. That's what your strength is in that moment for the audience to understand what you're feeling. So to focus on that for both of us, it was very overwhelming for me on my first day. And my first shot, which one we'll see. I don't want to say too much.
How
After
many
the
takes
film,
did you give on your first shot?
honestly, I don't remember. But my dad has always told me this, that takes never matter.
Oh, nice.
It never matters. You can do 10 takes, you can do 2 takes, you can do 20 takes. What matters is that each time you're doing it with honesty, and each time you're doing it with conviction, you're being in that moment. It doesn't matter ki acha you did it 5 takes means that you're not doing it well. No, you have to give your director his vision is what matters. If his vision is saying you have to do it like this, then you have to make sure you give those variations how many ever times you have to. I don't think it matters how many takes you do.
And Vikrant, because of course during the promotion, Shanaya must be talking about her debut. I mean, what did you did that take you back on your own journey about how you started out? And of course, you were very young when, of course, you faced the camera for the first time. But tell me about that moment when you felt that acting is something I want to do all my life. You just fell in love with maybe this craft.
I always wanted to act.
Okay.
I'm from Mumbai, born and raised in Mumbai, in Versova.
The hub.
The hub, which is like, Bollywood ka, India ka Hollywood जैसे कहते हैं, Versova, born and raised there. I've seen shootings, Anil Kapoor, Jackie Shroff, all these people shoot as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was one of those little boys who would be standing on the other side of the fence, looking at, all, the films being shot there. Action shoots ज़्यादा होती थी वहाँ पे, because Versova village में chase sequence करने ही आते थे सब लोग. So हम किसी छत पे चढ़ के देख रहे होते थे कि अरे ये भाग रहा है यहाँ से, अरे ये ऐसे मारता है, ये ऐसे होता है. तो always wanted to act. Grew up on Hindi movies.
Yeah.
But when I finally did get a chance, I mean, I was very young then, but with the advantage of hindsight, I'm so blessed
Absolutely.
that I'm living the life I always aspired to.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And of course, coming to this film, I mean, playing a blind character, I think, is the most difficult thing that one can do. Just to stop looking at things, just to stop expressing through your eyes. As actors, you are bound to do that. Tell me about the struggles of playing this character.
And it's not just about exposing your eyes, but also having no visual cues. Like in both our cases, actually.
Yeah.
She had the blindfold on. I had my customized lenses that she was talking about. We called for customized lenses from America, wherein 80 to 85% of my vision was impaired. I could not see beyond a foot.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's very, very challenging.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're playing two musical instruments you've never played in your life.
Wow.
So you're training for a month and a half just to sort of get the basics right, so that you can actually go out there and convince people that you are a musician. And yeah, so it was really, really challenging. It was, and you really want it to be authentic,
Absolutely.
Sana, right?
Absolutely.
There are moments when you're wearing sunglasses, but you don't want to just wear those dark sunglasses and pretend to play blind.
True.
That's horrible. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because your body language changes, the way you
Absolutely.
respond to what's being said, because you can't see, all your other senses are heightened. So yeah, I mean, it was challenging, but it was also worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many things which I'm going to carry forward for the rest of my life as an actor,
Amazing,
especially.
amazing. Shanaya, was it also interesting that his character was named Jahan? I mean, did you find that odd that you have a brother and that you're romancing someone called Jahan?
I didn't find it odd, but I found it. I found there were a lot of weird connections I was facing with the script. Genuinely, I had auditioned for another project. And unfortunately, they didn't like that audition. But Sandy sir really liked that audition. I auditioned with Punch Me, and she sent it out to Sandy sir. And I met Sandy sir. He told me that a week ago I saw you posted this Instagram post where you've put the Aankhon Ki Gustaakhiyan song, and he was like, our film title's Aankhon Ki Gustaakhiyan. And I was like, wow. Then I'm reading. Then he said, I'm going to just give you a small synopsis of what the film's about, and you can read it. So I said, yes. Sitting, suddenly saying Sabha, this, that, suddenly Jahan's name comes. I'm like, Jahan. And I'm sitting because I don't want to react to the director for the first time
Absolutely.
like a child reacting like this. Oh, this is my brother's name. So I'm listening to it and I was like, this is weird. I'm in love with the script. I felt goosebumps. I was so intimidated by it, but also so in love with it. There were these weird connections drawing me to the script, and there were so many weird connections where I felt the script found me as well. So, in many ways, whenever I was playing Sabha and I was with Jahan, it really felt like meant to be. I was meant to be Sabha for my first film.
Right, right. And as you mentioned, Shanaya, that they did not like the audition, one of the auditions. Of course, you also had films that were announced that did not work out.
Yes.
Someone who's just starting their career, does that just become something that shakes you up? Like, how is it going to be? Did that kind of just...
Of course it did. It was like, I think it is my biggest heartbreak that I had faced, and I don't think any boy is going to be able to break my heart like the way I felt like. I don't think any boy, anyone, that's my biggest love, and that was my biggest heartbreak at that time. No, but really, jokes apart, I feel it was a very important phase for me to go through, because I think I And having said that, I'm fully aware that, of course, these opportunities have come to me much easier. Even having gone through that, it's still been easier for me. It's still been, I've still had the access, which is very important. I think for me, it was my responsibility to not ever take advantage of those things, to earn my place in this industry through hard work and through the honest choices, and that will come with the audience's acceptance. And I think all of this understanding and all of what I've tried to portray as Sabha in terms of being an artist has come through that phase. Because that phase taught me and showed me the unpredictability of our industry, the setbacks of this industry, how you can have a script in your hand one day and it can go the next day. So the value or script ki izzat karna, that I learned. And just that feeling of trusting the universe, and everyone's journey is different. Trust that, have faith in that, move forward, and good things will happen if you're a good person and if you work hard. And finally, 3 to 4 years later, I trusted that, and I'm here with you. I'm here with Vikrant.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing a beautiful film like this, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, the audiences love as well.
Shanaya, through all of this, of course, your family has done a lot of work. What was that one thing that somebody said that just kept you going, that just stayed with you?
I think what my mom had told me, which was similar to what I had said earlier, is she said, Shanaya, what's in your control is your work and your hard work. Trust the universe, because it has its own plans. Trust God, He knows better. He's guiding you to something better. It may be this, it may not be this. I don't know. I can't answer you right now. And I'm sorry, as a mom, I can't answer you. But trust it. Trust the journey and have that faith. And even what my dad had told me, he had told me that maybe you're not getting the chance to face the camera to perform and to act and to perform your scenes and play these amazing characters. But you love your craft, right? So I said, of course I do. So he said, do it in front of an audience. Pick a scene from any film and go perform in front of an audience. So I was once a week going for actors' room, which is once a week you go choose a scene every Saturday and you perform in front of 30, 40 kids. And they give you feedback, they listen, they hear you out, you give them feedback, you see other theatre students and other students perform. So my mind was kept busy with that, and I think what it is to be disciplined and to keep going.
Right. And Vikrant, for your journey, I think you are on a mission to beat yourself with every role that you're playing. There's so much of anticipation, of course, with Shri Ravi Shankar's biopic that you're doing. Tell me about that. And of course, you also met him recently. So what were the kind of conversations that you had?
I mean, every moment spent with him is going to be etched for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I have that access. I can be with him, around him. So I start shooting for White in the month of August. It's a very important part of his life. It's a very important part of world history. Something, unfortunately, that not a lot of people in India especially know about, his contribution towards peace, towards restoring world peace. And in Colombia. And he's not just sort of contributed there, he's done much, much more. But through this film, we actually want to talk about the other things also that he's done, how he's contributed.
Right.
It's an honor to play him. I've said this earlier that I can never be him. I can only attempt to be him. And I hope my attempt is as sincere as his attempts are. So
absolutely. And also because this film has such a beautiful love story, tell me, how has the idea of love changed for both of you? Of course, you're married, you're so young. I mean, tell me about the different perspectives of love for you guys.
I mean, it changes with time, right? I mean, it definitely has changed for me. Like when I was 18, 20, I had a completely different idea of love. And then you have a phase in your life wherein that thought also sort of changes, and you're ever evolving as a person. I think it's changed, and it is a change in motion if you actually see.
Okay.
I mean, I can only speak for my wife and me. We've been together for 11 years now. We have a wonderful boy. my love for her was very different than what it is after my son, after Vardhan. And yeah, I mean, today I see her not just as my partner, but I see her as a mother. And it's like, it's it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I hope it only gets better with time. I have to say this because she's watching this.
And Shanaya, for you, there's so much talk about how the new age romance is all so flaky. How do you find it?
I know, I'm aware that our generation is very detached, so to say, and they move on quickly, and there are these new terms, situationship
Absolutely.
and benching and breadcrumbing. I'm hearing these new
Yeah, I've
terms.
learned these terms today.
Yeah, I was teaching Vikrant today. But for me, I think, I'm a little like old school when it comes to love.
Amazing.
I really believe in the long-term kind of relationships. I believe in love in a very old school kind of manner. So I'm that kind of a girl.
And there's also this love between you and Ananya and of course
Yes.
Suhana, the three musketeers that everyone keeps talking about. Now, of course, you are making your debut and someday you may be competing for the same role. So what is the kind of conversations that you guys have from best friends to now maybe colleagues and being competitors?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've always said this, they're more than friends, they're family. So competition and all of that is not even in our heads. We really support each other, and we are always pushing each other. We've grown up together, so we've been talking and dreaming for this moment since we were kids.
Yeah.
So now it's finally happening for all of us in different phases and different stages of our paths. It's a very exciting feeling. They're the first ones to always message me, call me, and show their support. And it's the same when it comes to their work with me. I'm always there for them, and we're always pushing each other to be the best versions of ourselves.
Amazing.
So.
And Vikrant, you actually broke the internet when you posted, of course, the break post that you shared. Of course, now that you are working, there are people still talking about how that was maybe just for publicity. How do you want to answer it sitting here today, promoting a film, and of course, you're going to shoot for another one soon?
Yeah, I keep reading that every post actually.
Yeah.
I have nothing to tell them. I was clear enough that I came out the very next day and I put it out. I mean, some of them are bullies. You know, so some of them really want to evoke a response with the news. So I care two hoots about them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everyone knows, people who care, they definitely know as to what I meant then and why I did what I did.
Yeah. And tell me, each of you, 5 things that you can do with your eyes closed. That is just for the real.
Arey, she can do a lot of things. She can do a lot of things. She's an expert. Bolo.
3 ही बोल दो at least.
3.
हाँ.
I can brush my teeth with a blindfold. I can go for a walk with a blindfold. I can dance in a blindfold.
You want to add more to?
I can keep.
She can sip coffee with a blindfold.
I keep adding.
She can crack her knuckles with the blindfold.
Yeah,
we actually trained for it.
Yeah.
So, can cut vegetables with a blindfold actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And can play blind cricket with a blindfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did that also, and it's different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
it
ball is
must be
different, the
super
rules are
difficult.
different, you know, the stance is different. Can actually maneuver in a public place with a blindfold.
Super.
Yeah.
And lastly, since it's Aankhon Ki Gustaakhiyan, I'm showing you some eyes. You have to guess who they are.
SRK, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was quick.
Janvi.
Janvi, Aishwarya Rai,
Super.
Amitabh Bachchan,
You guys are too.
Anil Kapoor,
Chachu,
Pankaj
Pankaj
Tripathi, Deepika, Shraddha. Yeah.
Did you guys see all these
Of
people?
course we know them.
Karthik.
Karthik, Kapil Sharma.
Oh my god, I thought you wouldn't do
Why not?
Oh,
Super.
they were quite
Yeah, easy.
Wow, I mean, these guys can really see.